What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sports Bluff. I am your host, Tristan Bunn, alongside my friend, my confidant, my fellow football fool, Ryan Lambert, here to talk about Super Bowl 58, the San Francisco 49ers taking on my Kansas City Chiefs, and what is sure to be a great football game. Why delay, Ryan? Let us jump right into it, because we got a lot of game to talk about. What would it mean? We'll kind of talk about each team, like legacy. We'll talk about each team game plan, and then we'll give predictions. We can take it wherever you want. What would this mean for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? What would it mean for their legacy if they were to find a way and win this game? If the Kansas City Chiefs are hoisting the Lombardi on Sunday night, what does it mean for Mahomes and Reid?
For me, it shows that even when everybody doubts you, that you can still achieve greatness. And obviously, we talked about this in another segment somewhat, that, this was a bad year, quote unquote, a bad year for the Chiefs because they didn't have weapons. Kelsey looked old through a majority of the year. Nobody ever really doubted Reid or Mahomes, obviously, right, but they just thought that this was a year that Kansas City probably wasn't going to make it to the playoff or let alone the Super Bowl for that matter. Yet here they are. I was one of those doubters. Go back and see our last episode. You'll see me apologizing for being a Patrick Mahomes doubter. I'll never do that again, and I'm not going to do it now. This would mean that I think kind of what Belichick and Brady went through, it was that moment where we knew that anything that we face, we could take on. So no matter the receivers, no matter the defense, no matter whatever the cards have in store for us, we can get to the greatest and highest level in the NFL, and we can win a Super Bowl. So to me, at the end of the day, when you look back and say what happened to the Chiefs this year to make them go to the Super Bowl, I think they just found a way, like you have been saying for weeks, they become a team. Yeah. Everybody steps up where they need to step up. That's going to happen on Sunday, and that's what happened to get them here to the Super Bowl. So I think they'll keep continuing to do that.
I think I agree with everything you said. This was the year to get them. This was the Chiefs' down year, and they're back in the Super Bowl. Even I had my doubts at points, but here they are. I just want to take a moment and talk about what this would mean for Andy Reid. He's a little ways back on like all-time wins. He's probably never going to catch Belichick, but let's pull this up. This is most playoff wins by a head coach. Right now, Belichick's number one. He's got 31 playoff wins, obviously the 6 Super Bowls. Number 2, Ryan, already, Andy Reid. 25 career playoff wins going back to the Eagles, and now with the Chiefs, he's got 2 Super Bowls. If he wins this one, he'll be at 26, have 3 Super Bowls. He'll only be 5 games back from Belichick. Third place, you've got Tom Landry, 2 rings. Fourth place, Shula with 19 wins and 2 rings. And then Coach Joe Gibbs in 5th place, 17 playoff wins, 3 Super Bowl rings. Andy Reid is already in elite company. He is already a first ballot Hall of Famer. But to get that 3rd Super Bowl, to go to 26 playoff wins, and I know there's the retirement talk. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to stay for a while. I genuinely think a lot of people talk about Mahomes trying to catch Brady and all that. I think we're a little, might be jumping the gun on that. I don't think we're jumping the gun on saying Andy Reid could be catching Bill Belichick for greatest coach of all time. Is Andy Reid ever going to have 6 Super Bowls? Probably not. But the fact that Bill Belichick never won anything without Tom Brady and Andy Reid without Mahomes still won a lot of games, made it to the Super Bowl against Belichick. I feel like Andy Reid, if he wins this game, I think he legitimately has a case to put his name alongside Belichick.
Well, you talk about, Mahomes catching Brady, we may need to pump the brakes on that, but I don't think that's necessarily the case either. Pull this up. You look at Patrick Mahomes, he's got 14 playoff wins. He's tied for 3rd place with several other quarterbacks.
Right.
There's a lot of them, by the way, that have 14 wins. Bradshaw, Elway, Young, Manning, and that's it. Roethlisberger has 13. So a lot of guys with 14. But next step up,
by the way, that's their whole career.
Right. And we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and how long has he been in the league?
Yeah,
6 years?
6 years. He's 28.
So Joe Montana has 16, and then obviously the GOAT has more than doubled Montana's 35. Record with 35. But you got to think, Tom Brady played for so long. Right. So if you extrapolate this out and you put Mahomes play into the year that Brady did,
Right.
He's going to beat Brady.
Yes.
Like he's going to.
If he can have the longevity that Brady had. That's the kind of what made Brady the alien. No quarterback was able to be that good past 35. You
look in this list though, and even if you go back to 13 wins, Staubach, Favre, Roethlisberger, and then Bradshaw, Elway, Young, Manning, Montana, Brady. The only name that stands out to me is Mahomes because he's the only guy that's still playing in that list.
And to be that high.
And he's that high at this age. It's insane, man. What
really
he's
is.
doing is out of this world. It's totally so Rodgers has 12, right? And he's the only other guy for the next few playoff wins, highest playoff wins from quarterbacks that's still in the league, and he's obviously on his way out.
Right.
So Mahomes has nothing but nowhere to go but up from here. And I think it would be so cool if he could catch Brady's record.
Yeah.
While we actually get to watch Mahomes from start to finish.
Yes, agreed. I don't know if Mahomes is ever going to be able to win 7 Super Bowls. Okay. Like that's a really tall task to do. What Brady did was incredible. However, the whole GOAT debate, people who measure the GOAT just by championship rings, you're doing a disservice to the conversation. Patrick Mahomes does not have to get 7 Super Bowls to beat Brady. It's like the NBA. Bill Russell's got the most championships, but we don't consider him the GOAT. We consider MJ the GOAT, right? Or some people can argue LeBron, fairly so. You can argue Kareem. Okay, there's a lot of guys you can argue. We know, without question, Patrick Mahomes is the most talented and physically gifted quarterback we've ever seen play the position. Not even close, right? But that was the thing. Brady wasn't the most physically gifted. It's just he was the smartest. He picked you apart and he had the success. Mahomes is having the success and also has all of the crazy physical abilities. Nowhere to go but up. I think obviously he's probably going to pass Montana in his career. He's gunning for Brady, man, and it's going to mean a lot to him if he can win this. To win it this year, it is so easy for us, especially when we're covering the NFL, to live in the moment because the NFL, it's like a soap opera. It's a week-to-week thing. It's basically like if you had a podcast where you're talking about your favorite TV show and you come on, you talk about what happened last week and what's going to happen next week. It is a week-by-week reaction. It's so easy for us to just get caught up in the minutiae in it. I do think, and not just because I'm a Chiefs fan, I really do think it's important to take a step back and just appreciate what we're witnessing. The names you mentioned on that list and where Mahomes is, he's only looking up at Montana and Tom Brady. There's going to come a day where we're telling our kids and our grandkids, we got to see Mahomes play. Like, that's what we're witnessing. And I just hope everyone, whether you love him, whether you hate him, I know most people are rooting against him, that's fine. You have to appreciate what he has done, especially this season. The fact that he is in this position this season, looking to be the first team to go back-to-back since the Patriots in the early 2000s. I'm a Chiefs fan, and I'm stunned by what he's done this year.
Let me flip the script on you a little bit. You asked me what it would mean to Reid and Mahomes. Let me ask you what it would mean to the two guys who don't have a Lombardi, Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan.
So, I think for Shanahan, it would mean finally cementing himself as a truly
it's got to be right
elite coach because
that's the next checkbox you have to mark if you're Kyle Shanahan.
I feel like some people could say we've been overly critical of Shanahan. I feel like I've just been honest and fair. I like Kyle Shanahan. We talked in our top 10 Super Bowl segment. He kind of blew that Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator. Okay, he blew it. That's the reason the Patriots came back. He could have won that football game if he managed it. We've seen him mismanage football games. We've seen him be addicted to his script and when things go awry, not know what to do. We've seen him be handcuffed by Jimmy Garoppolo. This playoff run is the most impressed I've ever been with Kyle Shanahan because to have Mr. Irrelevant and quarterback, this is the first time we've ever seen Kyle Shanahan and his teams get down and fight back. That's the thing. We said it in every preview episode of the playoffs. If you get out on the 49ers ahead and make them play from behind, you're going to win the game. No, not this year. Shanahan has got that monkey off his back. He has come back in every playoff game and fought and clawed. It wasn't an easy road to get to the Super Bowl, Ryan. This team has struggled down the stretch. They haven't looked great since before Christmas. After that Ravens ass whooping, they really have teetered and it kind of struggled to find out who they were. Their defense has not been great. Purdy's made mistakes. They got down, almost lost to the Packers, but they survived. They got down against the Lions, but they survived. I feel like this team is well equipped to take on the Kansas City Chiefs because of what they've gone through. As for Purdy,
it would feel like he was in the Twilight Zone if he won the Super Bowl.
Right. But so when we talked about Purdy earlier in the year, remember, like, think back to how, like, around Halloween, okay? And we were talking about Purdy, and I said, I don't see the 49ers making it to a Super Bowl because to make it to a Super Bowl, Purdy's going to have some fourth quarter heroics and beat good quarterbers.
Guess what, Ryan?
He did it. He had fourth quarter heroics. And
he had two big runs, man. They got him to the Super Bowl.
Right. He played poorly in both Packers and the Lions games, but he played big in the big moments. If he wants to win this game against Mahomes, he's going to have to play good. Like, he's going to have to deliver. He's done that. He has impressed me. I think him winning the Super Bowl is going to mean a lot to him because Mr. Irrelevant to the Super Bowl. But the conversation won't be him. It will be Kyle Shanahan. It will be Shanahan getting the monkey off his back, finally hoisting a Lombardi and putting himself at the top of the head coaches list as far as current coaches go.
Let me piggyback off that a little bit because you said that Brock Purdy was going to have to play really good if he wants to win the Super Bowl. Right. Obviously, we know that, right? It's the Super Bowl. It's the game of all games.
Shocker.
But what do the 49ers actually have to do in this game to win it? What is it? Is it as simple as, let McCaffrey?
Yes.
Okay. That's it, right?
That is the answer.
That's the key of the game. You got to let McCaffrey have his way in this game.
That's the only way you win.
Whatever that takes.
McCaffrey has to have he has to almost be the Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. And I know Super Bowl MVP is quarterback 60% of the time, but 40% of the time it's not. All it takes is
one throw. It takes one throw for a quarterback to win a game, and they're all of a sudden MVP.
If that's a great point, actually. That's true. You can get the game-winning touchdown, you're MVP. Okay, it's the same as league MVP. It's usually going to the quarterback.
CMC could have a 1,000-yard game. Okay? He could have a 1,000-yard game, but Brock Purdy throws that last-second touchdown to Ayuk, and Brock Purdy is now the MVP of the game. Like, that's just how it works in the MVP world in the NFL, and that's okay. But I think that I'm with you, though. McCaffrey is going to have to win this game for them, and I think he knows that.
And I think he can. Okay, I really do.
Sure, he could.
Here's what I want to ask you.
I'm not betting against Mahomes, but there's a chance.
Right. I think if it's a close game going down to the wire, I think it's over. I think Chiefs win it. I think the path to victory for the 49ers is almost, view it as a fight. If you're going in, obviously fighter B is favored. He's, the favorite. Everybody thinks, oh, he's the GOAT. But in the first round, if fighter A catches him with an uppercut and knocks him down, it's like, whoa. Yeah, you got to surprise him off the get-go. If the 49ers come out and get up to a 10 or 14-point lead, this is not the Chiefs team of old. They are not equipped to come back in football games. I don't think the 49ers can win a close game because I'm sorry, it's just Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be denied in a close game. If he gets the ball late in the game with a chance to win the Super Bowl, guess what he's going to do?
He's going to win the Super Bowl.
He's going to win the Super Bowl.
When the lights are on and when it's if it's back and forth the entire game, I don't care how many seconds are left on the clock.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is going to win it.
That's exactly right.
I'm right there with you, though, because if it gets not away from the Chiefs, but if they get caught, on their heels and, kind of rocking back and forth and they didn't really know what hit them early.
All of a sudden you're
gates.
Down 10. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, hey, credit to Kyle Shanahan because he calls a wonderful offense. Yeah. And Brock Purdy works well in that. And they have really well-designed plays. They have tricky plays that work. They have just smash mouth run plays that work.
It's built off the smash mouth run plays. That's where the tricky plays come in.
They have that mid-range, like 15 to 25 yard pass plays that work. So like all their offensive schemes are designed to, make this team the most efficient team possible. So you have a great point. You catch them by surprise with a left hook and a right uppercut, and then you're like, wow, okay. Wasn't expecting that. The defense maybe doesn't play Brock Purdy like they should, and maybe they sell out to McCaffrey. That could be a mistake because if you don't put pressure on Purdy and he's able to roll out and hit Ayuk for 10, 15 yards at a time, that could spell bad news for the Chiefs because we know that the secondary is probably their weakest link.
Oh, I disagree. I think the secondary is incredible. I think their
line though is so good.
They're good everywhere. That's the problem. The secondary might appear weak at times because of the way Spags uses them, because he blitzes them a lot. He'll have McDuffie coming in blitzing. Snead is a Pro Bowl corner. Trent McDuffie's an All-Pro. They both should have been All-Pro. Snead had the game-winning play against the Ravens, knocking it out on the goal line and causing the fumble. This Chiefs secondary is better than the 49ers receivers. The Chiefs defensive line is better than the 49ers offensive line. Here's what they have had trouble stopping the run. That has been the Achilles heel of the Chiefs defense. So where are the 49ers going to have success? McCaffrey. However, the Chiefs are going to know that. Like with Buffalo. Buffalo had a ton of success running the ball in the first half. In the second half, and I read an article about this on The Athletic, it was terrific. And they go into the halftime against Buffalo, and Spags gets all the defensive guys together and says, "You guys ready?" And he erases everything on the whiteboard, and they started from scratch. Before in halftime, they said, throw out the game plan. We're starting fresh. And what did they do? They shut down the Bills in the second half. Here is the question. We know McCaffrey has to go off. If the 49ers want any chance at winning this game, McCaffrey has to have a huge game. Brock Purdy has to limit mistakes. I think we have to agree with that. Regardless of how big a game McCaffrey has, Purdy's going to have some big plays to win this game. How big of a deal, though, is it going to be for Brock Purdy facing a Spags defense? Because it's one thing to try and draw it up. It's one thing to game plan it. It's one thing to be prepared for it. And it's another thing to actually face it. Ask Tom Brady when he lost to Spags in the Super Bowl. I feel like that's really the matchup in the game. Do you think Brock Purdy is going to be ready for this Spags defense?
I don't think anybody's ever ready for a Spags defense.
They made Lamar Jackson look like a rookie.
Exactly my point. But I think if Brock Purdy has any hope at overcoming this defense, McCaffrey, like you said, is going to have a big role in the game. But secondly, Brock Purdy I think they're going to have to use him in ways that he's not been used all year.
What do you mean?
I think they're going to have to go complete element of surprise. Like, if I'm the 49ers, I come out their first drive and do, almost like a flea flicker style deep pass downfield to Ayuk and get a huge chunk play just right off the bat.
You want to get Purdy rolling quickly.
I want to get him rolling as quick as possible, get him comfortable, get his feet set under him, and let him start flying the ball. And then obviously using McCaffrey when you get inside the red zone more and more.
Well, I was going to say that, it's funny because we say use McCaffrey. Hypothetically, just say you're drawing it up and you're able to do what you did. Well, then the defense is going to be like, oh shit.
This is what I'm saying.
We got to cover that.
So this is my point when I said the secondary is the weak link. If they sell out to the run early thinking that the 49ers are going to go run heavy with McCaffrey, what if they do a fake handoff or a fake pitch to McCaffrey? Brock Purdy rolls out. He's got Ayuk coming
Single
across
high.
A high slant, Bam, you got 20 yards right there. So that's what I'm talking about. It's catching them by surprise, right? And if I'm the 49ers, I go big or go home because you can't. If you go home after this game, you're home for good and you don't have a Lombardi.
This is it.
The two teams come into this. One goes home with a Lombardi in case you didn't know.
Right.
And most often, it's the Chiefs as of late. And so if you want any change in the status quo there, you're going to have to come out, hit them by surprise. And for me, I would be most surprised by putting the ball in Brock Purdy's hands and letting him air out for 50 yards or 40 yards for the very first play and seeing what we can get. It's risky, but what else are you going to do? Like, if there's ever a time to take risk, it is the Super Bowl.
You can't just show up and line up for first play for the 49ers offense, I form, handoff right, okay, and pistol, handoff left. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm so excited. Like, talking about it gets me amped up.
Well, obviously, we kind of talked about our next question here is what do the Chiefs have to do defensively? We know what they have to do. They have to stop the run and shut down Purdy. Like, there's no other tricks in Shanahan's bag of plays.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs defense, just what it is, will manage Purdy. I think the goal is to make sure you're not getting gashed by McCaffrey. You can give up 3 yards a carry, 3.5, 4. You can live with that. And if the 49ers have to slowly move the ball downfield, you can count on Purdy eventually making a mistake, or you'll be like, we got Mahomes. You can't give up the chunk plays to McCaffrey, though. That's where the Chiefs could get in trouble. If McCaffrey comes out there He's going to have a big play or two. Okay, he's just that good. But if he comes out in the first quarter and gets a 40-yard run, 60-yard run, touchdown, and it like catches the Chiefs by surprise, that could, get them on their back feet like that uppercut, and knocks them down. That's where I would be cautious if I was Spags.
Couldn't agree more. Let's move into final predictions, man, because I really want to give you mine.
Before you do that, I got to just ask, Chiefs offense, what's the goal for them? Because we know the 49ers defense isn't the dominant unit it has been in the past. Absolutely. Is the Chiefs offense has been relying on the defense. Patrick Mahomes has been a top tier game manager. He really has taken over the Brady role. Is it Pacheco time? Because the 49ers defense has struggled with the run.
Yeah, Pacheco's going to have to play a big role, but even more so than that, I think what you're going to see in this game is Patrick Mahomes using his legs a lot more than he has all year.
Yep.
I think that
always happens.
I think the 49ers are going to pull off, not put anybody in a spy, and then give Mahomes 10 or 8 to 12 yards at any given point, and he's going to use his leg. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not even like well-defined and chiseled. I mean, he's got a lot of people made jokes about his dad bod. I relate to the guy.
Did you see his tweet where he was like I got kids, y'all?
Right. It's a dad bod for a reason. I still like eating Cheetos with my 2-year-old.
Right. Quarterbacks don't have to be chiseled.
No.
Matter of fact, they shouldn't be. Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is an anomaly.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, how did his season go?
Guys. Well, you run the guy like a running back, he's eventually going to get hurt, I guess. But no, I think the Chiefs, it's going to be a whole lot of maybe like 3rd and 8s that Mahomes is going to convert himself by just running the ball, because nothing pisses me off more than Mahomes running the ball, because it's the one thing that you can't cover, because you have to cover everything else. You have to cover the run. You have to cover the receivers because he's deadly.
And you can't just leave a spy in because he doesn't run enough to justify it and take a man out of coverage.
That's why it is my most frustrating thing being a Bills fan.
It's the most underrated aspect of his game.
Yes, and him running is usually the moments, the biggest games is usually revolved around him running somewhere.
Because he, unlike Josh Allen, he's careful with it. He's not going to run a ton in week 6 of the regular season. But in the playoffs, he doesn't care. Playoffs, he's going to do whatever he's got to do. Think about last year, Ryan. What was the big game? Well, I mean, on the bad ankle, he had that big 3rd down run to get him into field goal range. I mean, that was on a bad ankle.
Running tongue wagging and all.
Yeah.
Because he sticks that thing out the
he's
entire
gonna bite
game.
It off.
But look, he'll gash you, though. He'll gash you for 10 or 15 yards if you're not careful. And then he'll do that funny little fake throw thing, because that's another thing about Mahomes. He'll throw with his back foot behind the line of scrimmage and the rest of his body in front of it. But in the NFL, that's all you need, right? But he'll throw at the very last minute. He'll throw with his left hand. He'll throw with his right hand. He'll throw with his pinky toe. Whatever he can throw with, he'll get the ball, or he'll just run. And, there's been several things out recently of like guys just like not tackling Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you have any right to judge that if you're not playing in the NFL.
It's hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw one of the videos where the guy literally just blocked the guy that was running behind or right next to Mahomes, tackling Mahomes. So I've seen it, but still,
the Broncos,
you're not in the NFL, and your best move to take down Mahomes may have been blocking that guy. Who knows? Whatever the case is, I still think this game comes down for the Chiefs in Mahomes' legs somehow, some way. At the end of this game, we're going to say, man, if Mahomes hadn't ran that ball, then it would have been a different story, possibly.
I love that. I think that's a huge part. Any concern about Bosa up against Taylor? Do you think? I think Mahomes is going to be needing to get the ball out quick.
Whenever there's a Bosa on the field, there's a concern.
Watch out for that guy.
There's Bosa's all over the place. Joey, Nick, any of them. Yeah, but especially this Bosa. This Bosa's a bad Bosa.
He's the best one.
He's a bad Bosa. Yeah, I'm concerned. Let's say he lines up against the right guard,
right tackle. Yeah, right tackle? Javon Taylor. Yeah.
Okay, so
who's been up and down this year.
So expect Mahomes to flush left a lot.
But hey, that could play into it, because then Mahomes is going to find a gap to run. So you never know. You might not want to get pressured that soon. It's going to be interesting to watch. Also, we didn't touch on it, but just the Andy Reid versus Shanahan thing, that's going to be such a fun matchup. I think
it will be. Yeah.
you know Andy Reid's going to have a couple like tricks up his sleeve. Just think about Ryan. Think about last year. He had in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid had 2 wide open touchdowns. Not a Philly player within 20 yards of him. That you give Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare, you better be ready. You better come correct. So,
just going back to our segment earlier, and we'll get to predictions right after this. What type of coach is Andy Reid? Offense or defense?
Oh, he's offense.
What about Kyle Shanahan?
Let me see. He doesn't do defense. He's offense.
Mm-hmm. And then like half of the 8 new head coaches, what are they?
They were all defense.
I'm just saying, if you look at the stats,
probably not making it to a Super Bowl.
Not likely in your favor, is it?
Nope.
Let's go to predictions.
Okay.
What is? Do you want me first? You want me to go since it's not
go
my
ahead.
team?
Take it.
Okay. 28-24. Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, baby. They're hosting Patrick Mahomes' third Lombardi.
Hosting or hoisting?
Hoisting? What did
hoisting?
I say?
You said hosting.
It's really
they will
late.
be hosting it.
People don't know that it's almost 12 at midnight in Alabama right now while we're recording this. So
either one.
Forgive me, guys.
28-24. So you think close back and forth game?
No, I don't think it's really back and forth. I just think that the Chiefs have they're kind of notorious about I call it letting their foot off the gas in the second half.
Yeah, they kind of will. They do what they need to do.
They got shut out in the second half against. I think that the Chiefs they get ahead early.
They do what they need to do.
Yeah, they score maybe let's say 21 points in the first half. Then they get 1 touchdown sometime, maybe late in the fourth quarter, and kind of puts the game away. And then they let the 49ers come in and get a field goal to bring it up to 24. Kind of how I see the game going.
Is it a good football game? Are most people going to be like, that was a good game, or do you think it's one that's forgotten about?
I don't know how Brock Purdy performs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I want to say yes, I think it's going to be a great game, but there's a chance that my prediction's way off and like we see a 28-17 game and it becomes just one of those ones where it's like, yeah, Mahomes had it pretty easy this game.
I don't think that'll happen. I think the score is going to be close.
I really just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That's why I said 28-24. I really wholeheartedly believe it'll be close to that. But I just don't know if it's going to be like that super exciting game or not.
Yeah, I understand. I agree.
I just don't know if there's enough big playmakers in the game. I mean, obviously there's Patrick Mahomes, but like...
So hold that thought because I actually want to ask you something about that after the prediction. So I think, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous because I'm not nervous. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I haven't been nervous all week. I genuinely, seriously, anybody listen to this, I do not mean this as a sign of disrespect. I'm dead serious. I like Brock Purdy. I find it hard to imagine that Patrick Mahomes is going to lose a Super Bowl to Brock Purdy. Patrick Mahomes has lost 3 playoff games in his career. You know who there were 2? Tom Brady, Joe Burrow. If it happens, I think something catastrophic would have to happen. Like something really bad, like asterisk level. I just don't know. So I'm going to say the Chiefs win it. I'm obviously concerned. I think everyone's going to pick the Chiefs, even though the 49ers are favored. That worries me. I hope some people on the TV shows pick the 49ers. So at the bottom, it's not all just KC logos. I'm going to say Chiefs win it 23-20. I think it's a close game, but in the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes things. I think he's getting his third ring this season, which is unbelievable.
The Chiefs only scored 23 points.
Yeah, Ryan, go back and look at the playoffs. I mean, they're not a high-scoring team. Their defense only gives up 17 a game.
I still think there's like a fourth quarter touchdown that gets them to 28. But what's your question, though? You said you had a question.
Okay.
About playmakers.
Give me some, like whatever comes to your mind, 1 or 2 from either team. Give me 1 on each team. Underrated X Factor players. So players that not everyone's going to be talking about. Obviously, people are going to talk about Kelsey and Purdy and McCaffrey and Ayuk and all Rice. Give me some underrated X Factor players because every Super Bowl, we see it happen. Last year, Kadarius Toney stepped up, with that punt return. The Malcolm Butler interception. It always happens. The David Tyree catch. Who is a player you can see from each team being that surprise X Factor? I know I'm throwing this to you on the spot with no research, but just what comes to mind?
So offensively for the 49ers, I think this could be a game where you see Debo really make a big difference compared to what he has all year.
Right. Because Ayuk's the number 1. I mean, Debo's a gadget, so I like that.
Kittle could be another one of those guys. When I know like Kittle is, but
I was going to say
Kittle is so up and down though. You really don't ever know what type of Kittle you're going to get. Defensively though, Fred Warner. There's a little guy named Fred Warner on the 49ers.
My favorite linebacker in the league. And
I think he has a chance to, I told you that I think Patrick Mahomes is going to use his legs. Fred Warner is going to be the guy that has to stop him. And I think he has a chance to do that. So he could be that playmaker where he, eliminates a 3rd and 8 from Mahomes getting a 3rd and 8 and getting a first down to maybe put the game away.
Okay.
Fred Warner could come in, step in and say, hey, I'm
like
that guy. So that's on the 49ers side. On the Chiefs side, obviously Patrick Mahomes, right? You gotta go with him. But aside from him, one that you wouldn't think about, I think we see MVS make another really big catch this game.
My boy,
I can't put it past him.
He does it every playoffs.
It's just the playoffs, though. You can't count on him in the regular season.
Right. Let
Lord
me take
knows
you back.
That's true.
That is true. Last year, Chiefs versus Bengals, every single receiver was hurt. The only guy out there was MVS, and he made the plays. This year, he had 2 big catches against Buffalo, and then who ices the game against Baltimore? It's MVS. That was going to be my one. Watch out for MVS. He's going to make a play in the Super Bowl. Maybe it's not huge, but I think he's the under-the-radar guy because I don't think you can say Rice is under the radar. Rice, Pacheco, Kelsey, but...
I got another one for the 49ers. Juszczyk.
I like that.
He may make a big play that we're not expecting, and that could be... I
like that.
He could even throw a big block or something. I mean, it could be whatever.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a scoring play.
Yeah, it's the only and best fullback in the league that actually makes a difference. Who's yours for the 49ers?
Okay, so I love that. So 49ers, I'm going to go Charvarius Ward, corner who used to play for Kansas City, played with them in the last Super Bowl. Now he's in San Francisco. Mahomes has been damn near perfect in the playoffs because of the defense he has. He's not going to take unmitigated risks. He's going to be careful with the football. He's going to play game manager. If Charvarius Ward could get a big pick or something, I think that could swing the game. So watch out for him. I'm definitely going to be circling him on my all 22 when I'm watching it. 49ers offense, I think I would go Juszczyk as well. I like that. Kansas City offense, I would go MVS. Yep. I agree. I think that's the guy to watch because the other guys I just don't think. I think Pacheco, Rice, Kelsey, they're not under the radar. So I think MVS. Defense for Kansas City, George Karlaftis. We know
is he under the radar anymore though?
I think so because Chris Jones is still the premier alignment.
Yeah, but I think Karlaftis has earned his name.
I know, but if you're ranking Chiefs defensive players,
argue the same thing about Fred Warner too. So
yeah, no kidding, he's the best linebacker in the league. I'm just saying, most people when we're talking about the superstars of the game, people aren't going to say George Karl. If you turn on NFL Game Day morning, they're not going to be talking about George Karlaftis. Okay, they're just not. Chris Jones is obviously going to make big plays. I think Karlaftis. It could make a play or two. He needs to bring down Purdy if they get hands on him because say what you will about Purdy, the dude's athletic. Like he can escape sacks and make plays with his legs. The Chiefs have to be prepared for that. I think they will be. I think Spags will have these boys ready to play. Losing O'Menahue was a really big deal. Last thing, another under the radar player, Drew Tranquill. Technically the 3rd string linebacker. Go back and watch the Ravens game. He was excellent in that game. I don't know if Willie Gay is going to be good to go or not. You got Bolton, you got Gay, and then you got Tranquill. Tranquill's a dog, dude, and he could make a play or two that could swing this football game.
There's a lot of dogs. I just looked at the 49ers roster on defense. Wow, there's a lot of dogs. Eric Armstead and you look at Fred Warner, you got Trent Williams. I mean, just these guys are just crazy.
They're everywhere.
Crazy.
Do you know how many players, both teams combined, how many starters was starting for both teams the last time they played in the Super Bowl, a couple years ago?
Oh.
Both teams.
How many starters? Like per team?
No, total.
Or altogether?
Altogether. How many started in, Super Bowl, whatever it was, 52 or whatever, that are still starting in 58?
Over, under 8.
Take a guess. I can't tell you.
Is it 8?
No, it's more.
Okay. 12. I'm going to go 12.
It's 11.
Okay.
That's
a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot. It's more than I thought it would be. But it's also a little. It shows you how quick things change in the NFL.
Right.
A couple years.
But dude, we get a great Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. I can't wait to get back on here.
I'm so excited.
We'll probably save the conversation till Monday night, I would assume.
Probably.
We'll see
probably
how it
record
goes.
Monday night.
Sunday's also my wife's birthday, so happy birthday to her if she manages to catch this episode. My birthday is tomorrow, and your wife's birthday is the day
Wednesday.
after tomorrow. So we have a
birthdays.
whole lot of birthdays. You're the oddball out. You got about a month left for yours. So
Right.
a whole lot of birthdays celebrating in the next, tomorrow and then for another month.
Next couple days.
A whole lot of birthdays. But can't wait to watch the Super Bowl. I'm rooting hard for the Chiefs for you because I'm a Chiefs fan when I'm not a Bills fan. So
yeah, man, it's going to be fun.
I paid enough money to Kansas City. I've been to 3 games, and they've all been one of them an AFC championship. So
true.
We paid a whole lot of money to go to these games. I hope to see them win a Super Bowl because I just like being part of history as well.
Agreed. That's why when people are like, oh, don't say we when you're talking about the football team. It's like the amount of money I pay to support that team, it's fucking we. Okay?
Right.
I can't wait, man. Super Bowl 58, the 49ers and the Chiefs. Ryan, thanks for being with me. I am Tristan. Thank you all for listening to the show. Like the episode, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it. We will record Monday after the Super Bowl. So we'll probably have episodes coming up Tuesday after the Super Bowl. That way we're not recording immediately after. We'll have a lot of content breaking down the game, talking about what it means for the winner and the legacies, because it could be Mahomes getting his 3rd, or it could be Brock Purdy proving all the doubters wrong. Mr. Irrelevant versus the future GOAT. We're going to see. Ryan, thank you. See you guys. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Goodbye.